Amita Sharma. I enjoy talking about women's issues. I have daughters. I have women colleagues in my life. Um, it's an important thing. Menopause. We talk about it. She created a platform. She's originally an architect and interior design, and she got into the pandemic happened. This first question I asked her was, how did she make that transition? But she's in the Bay Area and she's created a platform to help women. It's called NourishDoc, and women go to the platform. They're asked a couple questions. Are they in perimenopause? Are they in postmenopause? We talk about the three stages, what women can expect, how different it is with different ethnicities. They start a lot earlier and later. The symptoms, there's over 36 different symptoms in perimenopause, and what they can be, and some of the misnomers, some of the misconfusion about it. It's a great conversation. It's a taboo subject for many. I asked specifically, what can men do to help? I think that more men should talk about it and better understand it, so they can help and ultimately not only help themselves but society. Thanks so much for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because I was working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. To talk to you, Amita Sharma, thank you so much for your time. How did you go from architecture to menopause?
That's a very good question, right? Um, it's a journey, like a lot of people go through that. I always wanted to create something. And well, my architecture journey took me to interior design online. I was working, trying to sell furniture and online interior design ideas. And from there, somehow, during my journey, I ended up in corporate world and myself got into perimenopause and started having symptoms. At the time, I had no clue what is happening in my body and mind and all that stuff, to the point that it impacted everything of my life, my
Wow.
financial, physical, psychological, you name it. So, at that time, I didn't think I'll be sitting in front of you. I was happy with my corporate world, making decent money, doing, whatever. Um, and even one thing led to another. I started thinking about how to fix myself. And into fixing myself, I realized that this is a huge problem and nobody talks about it.
Hmm.
So one thing led to another. Then COVID happened. I got some time, just happened. And I started researching, went around the world, talked to about 4,000 people on this
Wow.
topic, and really understood it was culturally agnostic. The fact that nobody wants to talk about it, everybody has the same issue, what we are talking. So that's kind of, I said, well, I got to do something. If whatever chapter I have in my life right now, chapter 3 or whatever, I got to do something. And that's when I started digging, and I said, I got to talk it out. So here I am.
Yes, but I mean, many people, I mean, all women will go through it, and not many will take the time to try to help others, create a platform to help others. I mean, that's very remarkable. You're there in the Bay Area, so you've got access to some, some technology, some great people that can help along the way. But what brought you to the point to actually make a platform to help?
Yeah, well, the fact that I'm in the Bay Area also is one of the most expensive places, right, in the country.
Mm,
I If I ask for someone help, I can't afford them. You got to
right.
understand that,
Good point.
right?
Good point.
So, um, yeah, it was a long journey. I'll be honest with you. I always wanted to give back to the society, and I never knew how to give back to the society because I'm not like a billionaire here who can start giving all these
Mm,
non-profits, right? And at that time, I thought that all this technology that I have learned about, working in these high tech, and the fact that this area of women's health is so underserved, which I'm not a medical doctor, I had no clue, all those things. If I can even start putting together something as a resource, that's what I thought initially. I did not know that it was going to become a full time thing. But as and when I started digging and talking and digging and talking, like I said, all over the world, from Australia, Dubai, UK, you name it, right? Wherever, whichever country I could find someone who could talk to me, holistic experts, women, I said it deserves a complete platform of itself. The
mm,
topic has to be discussed, not being a taboo. It's a natural stage of every woman's life, and it impacts men as well. Funnily, when I start talking to men, and last couple of weeks back, a guy, he was interviewing me. He said, you know, it has impacted his life because his wife was going through it. He did not know what to do.
mm,
So couples also don't talk about it. So it wasn't just the physical wellness, the physical health part is what I'm talking about, right? This whole stage of a woman's life. It impacts everything, your
mm.
relationships, right? Your careers, your body image, which women, sometimes even men, are very concerned about. So I thought it's not just one physical part of wellness. Okay, do exercise, eat 1200 calories, and you will look like whatever. It's not about that, it's about
Mm.
everything. And
So
I think, yeah, sorry.
go you please, please.
No, so that's why this whole idea came around of doing this mind body connection, going beyond the physical part and talking about all the other things as well.
Mind body connection. So the three stages of menopause, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. What do we need to know about them?
So perimenopause is so important. Most of the women don't even understand what it is, including me. That is the truth. It can happen 10 years, the 10 years of transition, approximately, before women hit menopause, which is 51, 52. And during this period of time is when they're having all these start having all these strange symptoms and libido issues and relationship issues, mood swings, issues with their partners, and a lot of things happen during this time, right? So great divorce is another one of the things that happens.
Yeah.
So perimenopause is this approximately 10 years of transition period before women hit menopause. Now menopause is when actual cessation of the menstrual periods for women for 12 consecutive months. That is menopause. Now, the postmenopause, it's not like, okay, now I can relax. If women haven't taken care of themselves, the perimenopause, the chances of them getting chronic condition goes astronomically high, and the data talks
Mm,
about it.
mm,
80% of the women over 55 have one chronic condition. And we're talking osteoporosis, diabetes, dementia, possibly cancer, which we know a lot of
wow.
women have breast cancer and a lot of other things, um, heart disease, right? More women have heart disease, more women have osteoporosis than men. This data, that women think, oh, it's a part of aging. You can help yourself, but you don't know how to. It's all hormones. That's what's happening. The transition of hormone, the fluctuation of hormone that starts happening when a woman enters the perimenopause. And by the time she's in postmenopause, the hormones have gone down considerably. That is what is happening from a scientific point of view. If some of the doctors I talked to, like I said, I talked to quite a few of them, a few of the doctors, according to them, every woman should be on HRT, a hormone replacement therapy, because the hormones have gone down so much. And you need these hormones, for the bone health and all the things that we talk about, the brain health, the memory, and all those things. I'm not a doctor. I'm just trying to make this awareness, right? Whatever is the right protocol here.
So let's start with perimenopause. Women sometimes they don't know that they're going through it. I heard you talk about how different it is for different ethnicities, Japanese versus Indian versus African American. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so there's no one size fit all. According to the ethnic group, women go through perimenopause and menopause at different ages. That's number
Mm,
one. And also the symptoms can be different. Now, I talked a little bit about the average age of 51, 52. Some of the ethnic groups, they experience it earlier, and that is no good. That's actually very bad. So I'll just give you an example. Latino group, African American group, women, they get it around 47, 48 in this country because of their lifestyle, because of obesity, because of a lot of things um, associated with it. Indian women get it much earlier, 45, 46, which is
wow.
even worse. Some of the Muslim women in Sudan get it also even 45, 46, which is even worse.
Why is that worse?
Why is that worse?
That they're
Because
getting it earlier.
because they're depleting the hormones, right? The
Ah.
hormones get depleted earlier than they're supposed to.
Hmm.
If the women stop their periods at 45, 46, now if you, let's say, they will probably start entering perimenopause in late 30s. We talked about the 10 years, right?
Wow.
Approximately, I said. Now,
Wow.
if they're entering perimenopause in late 30s, they nowadays they're getting married in 30s. If they are
Hmm.
getting married, the window of the fertility is so narrow,
Wow.
and suddenly they're in perimenopause. So there's a whole society pressure that can happen, and it's just actually happening. The data, if I start citing the data, it's happening in some of these countries.
And how can a woman know when she's in perimenopause?
So typically the first sign of the perimenopause is irregular periods. Your menstrual health for a woman is the sign of her fertility, vitality, all those things. So if 28-day is a normal period for a woman's menstrual health, if that starts getting shorter, typically in perimenopause, initially in the earlier years, it starts getting shorter, and heavier, right? So something is wrong. And then as they start inching towards the menopausal year, it starts getting further apart because now it's going to stop, right?
Hmm.
At the end. So typically the first sign is irregular periods. And then when the irregular periods come, they start getting all these, it could be hot flashes. Hot flashes that is the only symptom, hot flashes and night sweats, which are only for menopause or perimenopause. Rest of the symptoms, there are almost 35 plus symptoms that are recorded for women going through perimenopause, menopause. That doesn't mean you're going to get all of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So if that starts happening, you're having hormone fluctuations, irregular periods, and then could be hot flashes, could be night sweats, you can't sleep at night. In the morning, you're groggy. My mind used to be groggy in the morning. I couldn't concentrate. I had no energy, fatigue. So typically, you're going to get 4 or 5 symptoms anyway. You will know something is wrong, right? Now, if that's perimenopause, then you need to do something about it. Go talk to someone, a naturopathic doctor or whatever, to start getting help so that you can make sure your hormones are balanced.
And what can men do specifically, Amita, to support our female colleagues, lovers, friends, sisters, mothers that are going through perimenopause?
I think men also need to be made aware of this phase of their
Yeah.
loved ones, right? It impacts them as well. Nobody's living in isolation. We all live in a society. So specifically for women, their loved, if there's a spouse, a partner, or whoever, it's important for the man to understand what she's going through, so they can support, or they can at least be considerate, and they can
Mm,
help
mm.
whatever help that person needs. A lot of marriages, they don't communicate,
Mm.
right? The great divorce we read in the paper is up on the rise, and I could never understand. I was much younger at that time. I said, why would you go through 25, 30 years with someone and then suddenly think of splitting? And even at that age when you need someone
Mm.
the most, right?
Mm.
So all these things, if you can imagine, gets built up and you're not communicating. The libido is one of the reasons as well, loss of libido for some of the women, um, sexual health getting impacted. If you don't talk about all these topics openly, then your relationship is going to get impacted. But the
Right.
problem is they don't know. That's the thing, right? Men
Mm.
don't know, women don't know, and they think, oh my God, something's wrong with me. And they don't want to talk about it, and but it's all a result of this whole perimenopause, all those things that are happening with your hormones. If you understood a little bit more, then you could do something about it.
Yeah, it could be challenging not only for the male, but obviously for the woman too, because they're unsure of what they're exactly going to feel. And you said 35, 36 symptoms. I'm sure some of them kind of come and go, and some may
Mm,
be related and some may not. And
yeah.
it's a difficult time.
It is, and it's actually very confusing because you don't know, like, especially a woman who's a 35, 36-year-old woman, as an example, and she starts getting these irregular periods and mood swings and cramps, and she could think it's a PMS, right?
Hmm.
Premenstrual syndrome. That's another.
Yeah.
So it's very confusing. She could be confused. Oh my God, is it PMS or is it perimenopause? If she's on the birth control pill, or God knows, so and she took it out. I mean, there's so many complications, right? If you think about it.
Yeah, there certainly is. But just be open minded and, well, it's easier to say as a male, but because I'm not going through it, but
Yeah.
just try to do your best to be open minded and communicate about it. So when the woman misses 12 months of periods, then menopause occurs,
Yes,
correct?
yes, yes.
So menopause, when they're supposed to get that 12th period and they don't, so menopause really only lasts for about a day because then it's
Mhm.
postmenopause, correct?
Exactly, exactly.
So
You're
12
technically in
months.
12 months ago, no period. After that, you're menopause one day and then postmenopause.
Yeah. So for those 12 months, you're still perimenopause, because you
Technically,
technically, right? Yeah, because you don't know if it comes or not. But after the 12th cycle, you don't get it. So now menopause lasts a day, and now we're in postmenopause, and it's a real time to be concerned about health. And you mentioned, mind and body. Take care of yourself during perimenopause so you can be better prepared at postmenopause. And what
yes.
can we do to support that? How can we help our 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 women friends, colleagues, mothers, sisters, daughters during this postmenopause time?
They need to be educated. They need to be made aware at every touch points that they go. The data talks about women who don't even go and see their gynecologists, including me, right?
Wow.
After the pregnancy, they will go see once a year the mammograms or pap smears or whatever. And at that time, typically the doctor doesn't even come. The nurse will come and she'll take your culture and she'll. I mean that is the
Mm,
typical experience. I'm sharing mine, but I think I talk to countless women. That's most of the women will tell you that. So it has to come more stronger than this. It should be, women should be made aware, like, this is going to come, and they're not made aware. And every touch point, wherever they are living or wherever they are, right? So maybe corporates, they need to rise up, as an example, the medical institutions, wherever,
mm,
or some place where they are told, or that they need to learn about this, like we are taught in schools about the puberty. This has to be taught somewhere, maybe in schools
mm.
and colleges. They're taught, right? In the college, there's a curriculum about it. The funny thing is, in medical schools, I was reading a poster from one of the most accomplished menopause doctors, Dr. Mary Claire, and she talks a lot about this. And she said in medical schools, only 8 hours of study, maybe 4 to 8 hours of studies talks about menopause. That's it. Rest of the hours is
Wow.
whatever. They're not taught. So how are they going to tell someone else? Hopefully things are changing now. I don't know. But so the fundamental issues are coming, from the, the root cause, and has to be fixed at the community organization levels, the nonprofits, wherever touch point women are congregating. That's what I could think of. So I ended up creating a platform and started going and reaching out to these community organizations, the corporates, you name it, the works everywhere.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So you created NourishDoc. It's a
Hmm.
platform to help women. Let's start with perimenopause. How does NourishDoc help women in perimenopause?
Yeah, so the way this platform is structured, we divide the women, either they're perimenopausal or they're postmenopausal. We don't do the menopause part, it's one day, right?
Hmm.
So you come in to our platform, so you got to tell me by whatever, this or this way. Once you go to, let's say, perimenopause, then we go through, not necessarily, I don't want to jump to the symptoms immediately, but we kind of go through what it is and what different kind of symptoms will be, what is the impact. That the way I'm talking about this, if you don't take care of yourself, women need to understand, right? How will they take care of themselves? So we walk them through the whole thing, and then we give them the dietary lifestyle modifications that they can start doing, along with the exercise, along with some of the herbs and supplements that are available, and along with some of the testing that they can do, right? So all those things are structured in a very systematic way, and then
Mm.
after that, depends on the symptoms, whatever symptoms they must be having. Then we have approximately 21 programs that are paired with each and every symptom. For example, sleep, as I told you, hot flashes, um, so many things, right? Weight gain is another one, bloating, sexual health, mental health, memory health. So
Mm.
according to whatever they have the issue they have in perimenopause, then they can graduate to that particular program and go through it. Now this is all self-serve because I wanted to keep it super affordable. I wanted this to be in the hand of every woman. Nobody says, "Oh my God, it costs so much money. I'm not going to do it." I wanted, like, okay, this is so cheap. I can at least spend $5 a month on
Mm.
myself and learn
Mm.
about it. And that's how I'm going to price it, literally. Now, after that, if someone needs help, there could be medical attention that needs this. We will provide a concierge services where you have a team of, for example, a functional medicine doctor. We always have an integrated angle to it, right? Meaning that you use the natural, holistic, as well as the conventional medicine combined. So you could have a team of like a functional medicine MD or a naturopathic doctor or a dietitian, and a yoga therapist, as an example, a mental health counselor. Women need a lot of counseling during this time. 50% of them are going through anxiety and depression during this time.
Wow.
Believe it or not. They don't talk, they won't talk.
Right.
And in UK, the data says 60% of the divorces that happen are during this phase of a woman's
Wow.
life.
Why is there such a kind of negative stigma on this whole topic actually, Amita? Why are more people talking about it? When I talk to my male friends about it, they say, "Why would you want to talk?" I say, "Well, because women are in my life, and we need to understand
I
this."
know.
Just I'm not physically going through it, but I'm going through it emotionally. I'm a part of it, so I want to be able to support best I can. So let's talk about it. The, I would like to think that more conversations are happening. Do you think that's the case?
It has changed. Yes, the things are changing in the last 2 years that I have been going in. When I started, not nobody, but very few people would talk about it. But now I
Mm.
see, press is covering it. There's a lot of entertainers who are women entertainers, like uh, I think Reese Witherspoon, Michelle Obama.
Ah.
Some of these influencers are starting to talk about it. Even Oprah had a session, Gwyneth Paltrow. So I think all
Mm.
these media is helping this topic to come out um, better than before, much, much better than before. UK, as an example, a country has passed a legislature on this topic, believe it or
Wow.
not. Yes, corporations, companies who have more than 250 employees, I think, are not they have to have menopause related some kind of programs.
Huh.
It has gone in the as a law because menopause women, I mean, women in menopausal years are the fastest growing work population in UK and even in US, by the way. We
Wow.
just are not, we haven't woken up to this fact yet and doing about anything about it. Women are working, we know that, and we are working more late, we're not retiring at age 50 is what I'm saying,
Mm.
right?
So women go to the platform, and obviously with a couple of questions, you could figure out if you're perimenopause or post. I mean, have
Yeah,
you had a
yeah,
period for 12
yeah.
months? And so then there's different kind of tracks that they can follow through,
Mhm.
but it's all kind of in a group setting.
No, this is a self-administered app that you will
Ah,
have. And then to complement that, we will have speakers from around the world who will talk about different topics. For example, I talk about so many different issues that women face. It's not just one issue. So we will have topics ranging from all the things, relationships, your sexual health, your urinary health, your memory, your mental well-being, your basic gynecology, what's happening in your body, right? Yoga, meditation, you name it. So we will have that to complement the self-help app
hmm.
so that women have a chance to ask questions if they want to from the experts. And these experts could be anywhere in the world. And that is a group setting. Now, if
Wow.
someone wants one on one, then of course the price goes up, right?
So you're kind of creating a community here.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And if they need escalation, if they want individual one-on-one help, you have some availability and you could make some references.
Yeah, we haven't, I mean, I haven't done this alone. This has been done with the network of about 3,000 holistic experts from all over the world. So all those holistic experts would be available. But having been, me being in United, the company being in United States, we'll have to follow, when it comes to one-on-one, there are other, you know, like things like you have to be within the state and all those things come into play, right? So those would be done accordingly. Like within the California state, we'll have one, for example, an MD or naturopathic doctor or registered dietitian as an example.
Hmm. I mean, I looked some statistics on menopause, and by 2025, it is estimated that over 1 billion women worldwide will be postmenopausal. Eight
So post, not the
post,
peri.
right? That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. 1 billion women.
Yeah, you know what? Yesterday I was reading in India, by 2030, there'll be 400 million women who will be in menopause. And I'm like, that's half, not half the country, but one third.
Yeah, 1.2.
It's
Yeah,
a big country.
1.5.
One third the country will be like, I'm like every woman walking there. I'll say hello. It's not funny, but you know what I mean.
Perimenopause, the transition leading up to menopause, typically lasts
Hmm.
around 4 years, but can last anywhere from a few months to 10 years.
Hmm. Yes, yes, it does. So the data of 2025 postmenopausal, if you count the peri starts what we just talked about.
Yeah.
You're 40 or late 30s. That I don't even know that number would be like 2 billion or something.
Yeah, because the population is generally 50-50 to men and women in the world, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we're at
yes.
6 billion now. Is that right? Around 6
6 to
billion?
7 billion. So let's say
Six,
3.5 billion.
quick
And
math. Yeah. Amazing.
and
Yeah,
out of three
absolutely.
and a half billion, how many of them are over 35? Okay.
Right.
So half, let's say approximately. So you're talking about three and a half divided by two, 1.7 billion or something, or 2 billion.
75% of women experience hot flashes during menopause, which can last
Mhm.
7 years on average.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It really
That's a,
is. I don't know why we're not talking about it more. I mean, I'm 56 years old, and my partner is, you know, uh, well into perimenopause, and I'm sure many others are, and we just have to have a discussion about it.
Mhm. Yeah, be informed at least what's coming, and the implications of that, right? That's the main thing, is we don't understand
Mm,
that why women are having more chronic conditions all these years. I can't even imagine all these
right.
decades. We never put, really not trying to put the, the straight line here. And then I started digging, and there hasn't been much research done on this topic at all. And just a few months back, Jill Biden has opened up and created some kind of a program at the national level to look into this women's research. So let's see what happens in elections now, where
Mm.
that program goes. But it just happens a few months back.
Yeah, and if my own opinion here, if I make a if menopause happened to men, there'd probably be a lot more research.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a horrible thing to admit, but I'm afraid it's true. So I mean, I started my business in the 90s. I was working way too hard. I was poor dietary habits. I got myself up to 340 pounds. The doctor said to me, if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. My daughter, of which, by the way, will eventually become perimenopausal, I might add. But it took 6, 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People ask me how. You mentioned obesity earlier as one of the conditions to perhaps accelerate perimenopause. But they always ask me, how'd you lose the weight? What's your secret? And I have no secret. To me, the discipline is how I lost the weight. I got focused, willpower, etc. I wonder how discipline plays a role in your life.
A lot. I read your story, by the way. It's incredible. I can't even imagine you fat. But I
Ah,
cannot.
yeah, I was, and I didn't even realize it. The body's a wonderful thing. It doesn't, it adjusts. So I lost breath every now and then, but I mean, I was a size 46-inch waist. Now I'm 32. It's just a whole nother person there. But with your background and being an architect, I mean, discipline must have just been kind of assumed, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Even as an architect, before that, I actually went through a boarding school for 7, 8
Ah,
years, and it was more like a military boarding school in India, if you can imagine it. So there was a
really?
lot of discipline to wake up every single morning at 5:30 and go for a run, um,
Whoa.
and and in the afternoon play do some exercise for 2 hours.
Whoa.
So so discipline was something that I kind of grew up with. Not that I was growing up in a military family, an army family, whatever, but I went through a very rigid curriculum, boarding schools that had all these discipline of this time this time this. So it has
Mm.
helped me a lot. At that time, I hated it. Of course, nobody wants to wake up at 5:30 and start running in the heat, right? At 100,
Oh.
120 degrees or whatever crazy it
Oh
used to
my
be.
goodness.
But it has helped me, and I have a very set daily routine, and I think that's what really helped me take care of myself,
Mm.
incorporating all the holistic therapies. And
Mm.
that's what we talk about a lot in on NourishDoc, is in our platform, is having some kind of a daily set routine,
Mm.
so you can follow. It's easier to follow, and developing these habits, it takes time, but you can do it.
I have this ongoing thesis, Amita, that discipline is a spectrum of 10 elements, of which routine is one of them that you mentioned,
Mhm.
order, obedience, mastery. What's coming down the road in NourishDoc? What can we look forward to? Because it was just released recently.
Yeah, so the app is getting released, and we're doing the web version because we're just finishing that, hopefully within this month or early next month. And then after that, rolling it out, and hopefully we'll be adding some products as well that would go along with it. So that is in the works for this year, I should say that. And then let's see.
Exciting, exciting. What motivates you, Amita Sharma?
get motivated by the fact that when anyone tells me, that, oh, you're doing a good job, keep going, right? There were a
Hmm.
lot of moments, almost 2 years, that we had to keep going as a team. We did not know if we were going to hit something that people are going to say, yes, it's worth it, right? Or we're going to can that idea. So somehow or the other, there were a lot of moments up and down, like a hormone roller coaster. I'm talking
Hmm.
about the irregular periods. And this was also irregular, the journey of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
But there was always some voice or someone, I don't know from which part of the world, would come in every single day when I talked to. They said, no, you're doing the right thing. Just keep going. Don't give up. And I would keep going. And that kept motivating me. And when I started talking to women, and some of them were like tears in their eyes, I said, oh my God, you have no idea what you touched my nerve. I'm like, really? So I've touched somebody's nerve. I'm like, oh my God, I need to keep going. So
Hmm.
that's what is motivating me nowadays is hopefully we are trying to make a difference in someone's life, and we can do that to millions or maybe billions one day. That's the idea, but jokes
Hmm.
apart.
Impact.
Yes, absolutely, making an impact.
Hmm. So, given that motivation, Amita, how do you measure success?
Well, as many women who, in our case, who can benefit from the work that we have done, you know, I don't want to measure success only with money, but if whatever work we are doing, it benefits women, that would be for me success. So
Hmm.
that's really is the idea. We can do all kind of work, but nobody, at the end of the day, it doesn't make, it's not impactful for another person, or it doesn't make sense, or it's not relevant, I should say that,
Hmm.
to other person, then pointless all the hard work that I've done, dedication. But the work that we're doing, if that makes a difference in someone's life and they start using it, you think it's useful for their life, to improve their lifestyle, improve their day-to-day life, improve their relationships, all those things, to me that would be a measure of success.
Hmm. Well, Amita Sharma, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for your time today. I know you had some throat issues. I appreciate you going through it. Anybody listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Right now, going to our website is the best way, www.nourishdoc.com. And if you want to drop us a note, and there is a form over there. Our email is hello@nourishdoc.com. We are all over social media, so you can check us out on all the social channels if you want to. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Sure. Nourish, Nourish, doc.com, your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Linktree. You're everywhere, and it's a great platform. I highly recommend. Rita, thank you so much for your time. Next time in the Bay Area, perhaps we'll get a cup of tea.
Absolutely. Let me know. Sure. Love that.
Very good. You be well.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversation.